So till where sir has stopped?
Sir, problems. Sir.
Which problems? Sir, okay, I will share the screen so you can get to know. So the screen is visible, right?
Yes, sir, visible.
Okay. So in the payment, in the module 3, there's rigid payment design and flexible payment design is over, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So only the remaining portion is in the fourth module, that is payment construction. So we will see later this Rose method whenever when everyone are coming. So directly we will go for desirable properties of bituminous. Is it completed in the third module? Properties of bituminous mixes.
Yes, sir, completed.
This one completed, I think. Then this one, the desirable property of cement concrete mix.
Concrete mix. No, sir. From the concrete mix, you have to start, sir.
Concrete mix. Okay. So as we all know that there are two types of mixes will be there. One is the bituminous mixes, that is a BC mix we are going to call, and another one is a concrete mix. Okay, concrete, that is we can call it as a cement concrete mix. So as we all know that the traffic, when the traffic is lesser and the rainfall area is more, that is when the rainfall is more means we are going to provide the cement concrete mix rather than the bituminous concrete mix. And as we all know that the bituminous mixes is having some desirable property. So similar to bituminous mixes, the cement concrete mixes is also having some desirable properties. What are those desirable properties which is exhibited by the cement concrete mix? Okay, the first one is durability. What do you mean by durability? So it is the ability of hardened concrete to resist deterioration caused by weathering and action. Okay, that is the first one is durability. So durability, is it visible, right? What I am writing, is it visible?
Visible.
Okay, so durability means resistance to deterioration. Okay, resistance to deterioration because of weathering action, because of the weathering, then chemical and abrasive action. So as we all know that the cement concrete pavement which is having a harder surface which will easily deteriorate because of the weathering action, that is the rubbing action of the wheel on the top surface of the pavement, there will be chances of abrasion also. So the cement concrete mix should have a sufficient durability to resist the weathering action, chemicals and abrasion. Then next one is workability. As we all know that the cement concrete, when we can say that the cement concrete is workable means when it is easily placed, when it is easily mixed, and when it is easily transported, and when it is easily compacted, then only we can say that the cement concrete is workable. Similarly here also the cement concrete is workable so that it should satisfy the desirable property, so that the cement concrete should be easily placed, easily handled and easily finished. So it should have a sufficient workability. Kindly mute yourself, those who are unmuted. So next is a weather resistance. That is I told right, freezing and thawing, drying and heating and cooling. So we all know that the weather, sometimes it will be very cool in nature, sometimes it will be very hot in nature. That is the temperature will be keeps on fluctuating. So because of the fluctuating in temperature, there will be deterioration of the pavement. That deterioration we are going to call it as weathering. Okay, the cement concrete should be have a weather resistance also. Then erosion resistance, that is a resistance due to water flow and wind blasting. Sometimes you can observe that because of the flowing of water, the water will make the path. Okay, because of a continuous flow of water on the cement concrete pavement, there will be erosion will be there. Okay, so there will be erosion in the surface of the pavement. So the cement concrete pavement should be resistance to erosion. That is a resistance to erosive action caused by water flow, traffic and wind blasting. Then comes the chemical resistance. Okay, these three comes under the durability only. So which will comes under the durability, that is a chemical deterioration caused by de-icing salts, salt water and sulfate salts. Okay, you can observe in the Mangalore side, near in the Mangalore or Udupi, all the payments are constructed with this cement concrete payments. Okay, CC payments, they have constructed all the roads with CC payments because they are very resistant to chemical. So the cement concrete payment should be of resistant in such a way that because of the salt water and sulfate salts which will be attacking the payment and which will deteriorate the payment, so that we can easily avoid the chemical resistance. And the cement concrete mix should have sufficient chemical resistance. Then water tightness, resistance to water infiltration. As we all know that the cement concrete pavement, is it having any pores or is it solid block cement concrete pavement? You can unmute yourself and you can answer. Is it a solid block or is it having any hollow portion or any voids in the mixes?
Solid, sir.
Solid. So it is a resistance to water infiltration. So the water tightness we can easily achieve it as a 100%. Okay, 100% water tightness can be achieved in the cement concrete pavement. Then comes the resistance to deformation for the applied load. Rather than in the cement concrete pavement, rather than in the bituminous concrete pavement, the cement concrete pavement can sustain more loads. So it can sustain the applied load. So you should have a cement concrete pavement in such a way that it should not deformation under the applied load. Then economy, the payment should be economic in terms of construction cost, maintenance cost and operation cost. But when it comes for economy, the CC payment are higher cost payments. Higher cost payments. Why? Because the construction cost is higher, but the maintenance cost and the operation cost is very lesser. Only the construction cost is higher for the cement concrete pavement. Higher cost for cement concrete pavement. There is the cost of construction of cement concrete pavement is higher than the cost of bituminous concrete pavements. So these are the some desirable properties you should know. This will be asked for 8 marks. Okay, either the bituminous mixes they may ask for 8 marks or cement concrete mixes they may ask 8 marks. Okay, is it clear, right? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now we will go for the earthwork. So what do you mean by this earthwork? Can anybody know what do you mean by this earthwork? Earthworking? Any idea about earthwork? So, tell me. So earthwork means as we all know the typical cross section of pavement. So this is the embankment. Above, inside the embankment only there will be subgrade soil. Above that there will be GSB layer. Above that there will be base course. Above the base course there will be prime coat. Again there will be binder course. Again the binder course is by wearing course. So here prime coat, here it is tack coat. So Is it a flexible payment or rigid payment? Whatever I have written, is it a rigid or flexible? Kindly respond. Is it a rigid or flexible?
Rigid payment.
It is a typical cross section of a flexible payment. So here there are two criteria will be there. One is embankment and another one is a construction of road in the cut area, and another one is embankment. Now what do you mean by this embankment? Constructing the ground, constructing the road above the ground level. So this is the ground level we are going to call. Constructing the road above the ground level, that we are going to call it as a embankment. So constructing the road above the ground level, that we are going to call it as embankment. What are the steps involved in construction of embankment? They will ask for 4 marks. So if you write all these values, if you write all these steps means you can easily score 4 marks. What are all these steps you are going to follow? First one is clearing and grubbing. So clearing and grubbing means when you are constructing a new road means the trees will be there, right? Yes or no? The trees will be there, the bushes will be there. So clearing that bushes and grubbing. Grubbing means leveling. Okay, clearing and grubbing means clearing the trees and bushes. Grubbing means making leveling. Okay, making the leveling of the existing ground. So the first and foremost step is clearing and grubbing. Second one is recompaction of the ground. Since because of this clearing and grubbing, the soil get loosened. So the soil will be in loosened state. So you have to make that you have to compact the existing ground. There is a recompaction of the ground. Then soil spreading and compaction in layer to form embankment. So you are going to spread the soil one by one layer. You are going to spread it and you are going to compact it. So initially clearing and grubbing you are going to do. Then recompaction of the existing ground. Then you are going to bring the soil from the borrow area. You are going to place it. You are going to spread it. You are going to compact it to form the embankment. Then spreading of soil and compaction from subgrade. So inside the embankment only you are going to place the subgrade soil and you are going to compact it. Then excavation of longitudinal side drains. So you are going to excavate the longitudinal side drains. Okay, I'll show how this excavation will be done. So this will be the, so it will look like this. So you are going to excavate the longitudinal side drains along the embankment. Then a construction of cross drainage structure. CD structures like a pipe culvert or box culvert, you are going to construct it. Then a laying of GSP layer. So laying of the GSP layer you are going to do. Then building up shoulders. So shoulders means the extra portion of the road where the vehicles are made to stop. Okay, the extra portion of the road width where the vehicles are made to stop, you are going to build the shoulders along with the GSP. Then construction of base course, that is above the GSP there will be a base course. So construction of that base course will be done. Then construction of binder course, wearing course, and if it is a cement concrete pavement, construction of cement concrete layer, or if it is a flexible pavement, construction of the bituminous layer. Then comes the finishing work. That is, finishing work means markings or paintings, installation of traffic barriers, everything will be done. Okay, so remember in the embankment construction, the first one is clearing and grubbing. So clearing and grubbing means clearing the trees and bushes. Grubbing means leveling the existing ground. Then recompaction of the ground. That is, whatever the ground you have leveled, you are going to recompact it. Then soil spreading and compaction in layers to form embankment fill. So you are going to spread the soil and you are going to compact it. For embankment, there are two steps here. One is for embankment and another one is for subgrade. Then soil spreading and compaction to form subgrade soil. Then comes the excavation for the longitudinal side drains. So you are going to excavate along the bottom of the side, embankment along the length to excavate longitudinal side drains. Then construction of CD structures, whether it may be pipe culvert or box culvert. Then laying of GSB layer, construction of base course, construction of binder course, and wearing course in flexible pavement, and wearing course in the rigid pavement. Then finishing works like marking, that is the road marking and all those things will be done here. Okay, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, any doubts in this? Is it
No, sir.
clear? Okay. Next, this is about highway embankment. Next one is a highway fill. It is not embankment. It is a cutting. Okay, this is not embankment. It is cutting. How you are going to construct the road in cutting? So the cutting means the road which is constructed. This is the ground level. The road which is constructed below the ground level. Okay, below the ground level. So that we are going to call it as a cutting. In the embankment we have seen above the ground level we are going to construct the road, but in the fill it is below the ground level you are going to construct the road. So fill, or we can call it as a cutting. Okay, filling or cutting. So first one is a excavation of earth up to desired width and depth. So this is the general ground level we are going to get. So excavating the cutting portion till the depth. Okay, for example 5 meter depth. So you are going to excavate. Then a compaction of bottom of cutting. You are excavated here also. This portion is also excavated. So the bottom layer will be loosened. So you are going to compact the bottom layer. You are going to compact the bottom layer. Then excavation of longitudinal side drains. Okay, after compaction you are going to excavate the side drains. Okay, like this the drains will be provided. So wait a minute, I'll draw cleanly. So this is the ground level. So you are going to excavate along the length of the cutting. So this is the longitudinal drains. You are going to excavate longitudinal drains. Then you are going to construct the subgrade. Okay, you are going to construct the subgrade. So initially you are going to construct the subgrade. So constructing the subgrade here. Then above that construction of cross drainage structures like pipe culvert or box culvert you are going to do. Then construction and laying of a GSB layer. Okay, GSB layer. Then building up the shoulders. So shoulders throughout the width of the shoulders you are going to provide. It is building up of shoulders. Then construction of base course. Okay, base course you are going to construct. Then construction of binder course and wearing course. Construction of binder course and wearing course. Then finishing works like road markings, then traffic barriers, installation of cat eyes, etc. You are going to do. So in the embankment you are going to fill the soil, and above that filling of soil you are going to construct the road. But in the cutting you are going to cut the earth to a required width and depth, and you are going to construct the rigid pavement or flexible pavement. Okay, is it clear? Is it clear?
Yes.
Kindly respond. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How many are there in the meeting? Okay. 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 Now we will go for this Rhodes-Fuchs method. How we are going to do the Rhodes-Fuchs method? Simple method I am going to explain now. So this is basically to do stabilization of soil. For stabilization of soils, we will be using this Rhodes-Fuchs method. Okay, that is especially the mechanical stabilization. Okay, mechanical soil stabilization. Mechanical soil stabilization. So when you are mixing the aggregates with soil, we will be using this Rhodes-Fuchs method, and this method is easily adapted for mixed design also. Okay, which is easily adapted for mixed design of bituminous concrete mixes. Okay, initially in olden days we were using this the Rhodes-Fuchs method for design of the bituminous mixes. That is for gradation of aggregates. For gradation of aggregates, we will be using this Rhodes-Fuchs method. So what is the procedure we are going to follow means first sieve analysis of the different selected soils are to be carried out in the laboratory. You are going to conduct a sieve analysis of the soil where you are going to mix that soil with the aggregates. That is the first and foremost thing is you have to do the sieve analysis. Then the results of the grain size distribution are tabulated with different sieve and a cumulative percent passing is calculated. So we all know that we are going to calculate individual passing of the aggregates and the soil, and we are going to calculate the cumulative percentage of soils we are going to consider. Cumulative percentage of passing of soil we are going to consider. Then on a plain graph paper, the cumulative percent passing versus is plotted. So on the normal graph sheet, what you are going to do, you are going to plot the percentage passing. Okay, for example, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. So on the y-axis, you are going to plot 90, 100. So this is a cumulative passing. Okay, cumulative passing, you are going to plot it on y-axis, and the point representing x-axis represent maximum set of sieve which is used. Okay, now what you are going to do means you are going to mark the another point on the x-axis. Okay, a straight line is drawn from 100 to that point. Okay, a straight line is drawn from that point to 100 point. This we are going to call it as a balancing line. Okay, balancing line. So simply remember, you have done the sieve analysis for the given soil sample. For that soil sample, you have calculated the cumulative passing, and we have represented the y-axis in terms of cumulative passing. That is from 0 to 100 you are going to represent. Then x-axis is to represent different particle size, but do not any specified scale. That is it will be plotted. Later on, I am going to show how this x-axis will be plotted. Okay, we will consider this as 0 sieve. So you have to plot like this. Then a sloping line is drawn. So we have drawn this sloping line. This we are going to call it as a balancing line. Okay. Excuse me. The sloping line represents the balancing straight line of the desired gradation of the mixed aggregates. Now what you are going to do? Now we will be having the aggregate sieve sizes. Okay, we will be having the aggregate sieve sizes. So for example, the aggregate 2.36 mm is having a cumulative percent of how much we can take. So we can take around 80% of the particles are passing 2.36. So we will draw a line like this. It will cut the balancing line here, project it downwards. You can plot that as 2.36 mmc. So by looking into the cumulative frequency of the aggregates, we are going to get the x-axis. Okay, are you following it or not? Is it understood? Is it understood?
Yes, sir.
So the sieve sizes can be represented by making use of this cumulative frequency. Okay, when we solve one problem, we will get to know. Then similarly, for example, 40%, you may get around 600 micron. Then 20% you may get around 300 micron. Then 5% you may get around 150 micron. Then very less amount we can get it on 75 micron, and it is 0. Now from using the cumulative percentage of passing of the given soil, whatever we have conducted from the laboratory, we have got the sieve sizes along the x-axis. Now I will erase these dotted lines, whatever we have drawn. What was it? So I will so we have to erase the dotted line. So now we have got the sieve sizes along x-axis. Now you have to plot the whatever the soil they have given. You have to plot the soil. So we will get a line like this. So you can observe here for 20 mm soil, what is the cumulative frequency you are going to plot like this. So for example, like this, you are going to plot the values for the given sieve size and for the given cumulative frequency. You are going to plot the line like this. So this is a material A. Similarly, material B, you are going to plot like this. Similarly for material B. Then for material C, you are going to plot like this. So material C. So here material here how we have plotted means whatever the sieve analysis you have conducted. Okay, whatever the sieve analysis you have conducted, using the sieve size and the cumulative percentage, you are going to get the line like this, and joining the points in such a way that it should balance. Okay, now the end point of A should be joined with end point of B. So the end point of B should join with the starting point of C, and wherever it will cut the balancing line, that will be the portion of A, portion of B, and portion of C. So remember, I will plot it once again. I will show how we are going to get this one. So I will use whiteboard. Wait a minute. So is the whiteboard is clear, visible?
Visible.
Visible. Okay. Now first we will make use of y-axis, that is 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. So this is a cumulative frequency. Okay, cumulative frequency we are going to get, which is obtained from the sieve analysis. Now we are going to mark a point here that represents 0. Draw a line joining 100 and 0, a sloping line. So this line we are going to call it as a balancing line. Okay, this we are going to call it as balancing line. So make it a square or rectangle. Now from the sieve analysis, we will be knowing the percentage passing, right? Cumulative percentage passing is known to us, right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now we know cumulative percentage passing is known to us using the cumulative percentage passing. Okay. For example, 20 mm passing is 80%. So it will cut the line here, project it downwards. So we'll consider it as a 13.2 mmc. Then 76%. So we'll consider it as a. So this is 12.5 mm. Simply I'm writing, okay, no need to worry. So some random values I am taking, then 60%. So it is 10 mm. Then 43%, it is around 4.75 mm. Then 33%, it is around, it will cut here 2.36 mm. Then 20%, for example, if we consider 20%, so we are going to get 1.18 mm. Then 15% to cut the line here, so it is 150 micron, not 150, so 1.18 mm, 600 micron we will consider. Then some value will be there which will represent cut the curve at this point. This is 300 micron. Then some point will be there which will be representing 150 micron, and last one is 75 micron. Okay, is it clear how we are going to get this x-axis, right? Is it clear? Kindly respond. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. From the cumulative percentage passing, we have got the x-axis now. Okay, this is the x-axis we have got. Now using the, now we know three types of materials will be given: material A, material B, and material C, and their percentage passing will be given to you. Their percentage passing. Now we are going to plot that percentage passing. For example, 13.2 is around this thing. So it may vary like this. So you are going to join all the lines like this. Okay, so you are going to draw the line like this for given percentage passing and the sieve size. You are going to plot. This is material A. Then similarly for material B, you are going to mark like this the points like this. So for material B, you are going to mark. You are going to join the line. Then similarly for material C, you are going to mark for the given sieve size. So it will be looking like this. So joining the line. After plotting, what you are going to do means you are going to hold the scale and you are going to make the line balancing. So the shaded portion, A portion and B portion should be equal. A is equal to B. Similarly, in the red line also you are going to make it equal. Then in the C line also the upper portion should be equal to lower portion. Likewise you are going to do. Okay, is it clear? Up to here, is it clear? Plotting clear? How to plot the graph? Kindly respond. Is it clear? Plotting the graph. Is it clear? Kindly respond. Dhruva. Kindly respond. Is it clear or not?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you have to balance the line. Then the A line should join with the starting end point of the A line should join with the starting point of B line, and B line should join with the starting point of C line. So wherever the point which cuts, okay, you can observe here it is not joining, so we will make. So this is the proportion of material A, this is the proportion of material B, and this is the proportion of material C, where it will cut the balancing line. Okay, the end line where you are going to cut, that will be balancing line. Okay, I'm going to show once again. Up to here it is clear, right? By plotting
Yes, sir.
up to here, this is material A, CO analysis values you have plotted. Similarly for material B, you plot the values like this. Similarly for material C, plot it. Now join all the values. Okay, now join all the lines, that is roughly join all the values. So B line, so material B, join the values. Then C line C, join the values. Now what you are going to do means you are going to have the scale. Okay, you are going to keep the scale in such a way that you should place the scale in such a way that the portion above and the portion below should be equal. Okay, for example, material A1. So A1 shaded portion. Okay, shaded portion should be equal. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆಯಾ? Understood? Is it understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Similarly, you are going to place the scale in the B direction and the shaded portion here. Okay, the shaded portion of A and B, that is B1 dash, should be equal. Then similarly, you are going to place the C line and you are going to shade it. Now what you are going to do means you are going to join the end point of A line with the starting point of B line. Okay, the end point of A line, you can observe here the end point of A line with the starting point of B line. Then end point of B line should be joined with the starting point of A line, and it will cut the balancing line up to here. So this will be the A portion, this will be the B portion, and this will be the C portion. So this proportion, that is A is equal to 80%, B is equal to 10%, and C is equal to 10%. Okay, three materials. So for mixing A, we have to take 80% of A material, 10% of B material, and 10% of C material. Is it clear how to join the line and how to get this one?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So from this we are going to calculate the what is the quantity of A material, B material, and C material. Okay. So the same thing has been explained here. There is a sloping represents. So now the balancing straight line ABC are obtained, allowing only minimum. Both ends of the balancing lines are joined. I told right, the balancing ends are joined. That is if you write a balancing line for A portion, so this is the balancing line means this is the AA balancing line. There will be B balancing line like this. So BB will be there. So joining the end point of A to the end point of B, B end point will be joined with C starting point. Then the points where two lines intersect mid the sloping indicate the proportion. So it will cut. Okay, it will cut the desired line at one position. That portion we are going to call it as a quantity of A material, quantity of B material, and quantity of C material. Okay, is it clear? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this completes this Rose-Fuchs method. So in the exam, they will not ask this Rose-Fuchs method. Don't worry about this one. But you go through the theory and how to plot these things. And desirable property of bituminous mixes, as we all known to us, there is adequate stability to withstand the stresses which are coming on the pavement. Then adequate flexibility during the service life of the pavement, that is a fatigue because of fatigue and cracks. Then adequate resistance to permanent deformation, that is rutting. The bituminous mixers should be resistance to rutting. Then possess adequate resistance to low temperature cracking. So low temperature cracking should be considered. Then combined adverse weather and repeated traffic load, that is weathering action and repeated traffic load, you have to it has to withstand. Then possess sufficient air words to prevent bleeding. Okay, so if we provide a sufficient air words, that is if we provide a sufficient gap between the aggregates, means it will help in avoid bleeding of the bitumen. Then possess adequate resistance to moisture induced damages, that is moisture induced damages, that is presence of water. Okay, presence of water will leads to moisture induced damages, so those can be avoided in the bituminous mixes. So it should have a sufficient resistance to moisture induced damages and adequate skid resistance. Why? Because it is the topmost layer which will be considered, so it should have sufficient skid resistance value. Then it should be workable at the mixing, laying and compacting temperature. Why? Because as you all know that the bituminous mixes are more temperature susceptible. The bituminous mixes are more temperature susceptible in such a way that it should have sufficient viscosity. That is, it should have sufficient viscosity while mixing, laying and compaction. As we all know that the bitumen becomes softer at higher temperature. At room temperature it behaves like a semi-solid. At higher temperature it behaves like liquid. At lesser temperature it behaves like solid. So that the bituminous mixture should be workable in nature. So remember, this is also very important question. They will ask for 8 marks or 10 marks. Desirable properties of bituminous mixes, that is adequate stability, adequate flexibility, adequate resistance to permanent deformation, adequate resistance to low temperature cracking. Why? Because at lesser temperature the bitumen get cracked because of brittleness of the bitumen. Then adverse weather and repeated traffic load. Then sufficient air words to prevent bleeding. So if you provide proper air words, that is proper gap between the bitumen and the aggregates, so we can easily avoid this bleeding. That is excessive bitumen can be absorbed by that voids only. Adequate resistance to moisture induced damages, that is moisture induced damages, it should resist. Then adequate skid resistance. Why? Because the topmost layer should be adequate skid resistance. Why? Because the tire surface will be directly in contact with the pavement surface. To avoid skidding or slipping, it should have adequate skid resistance. Then workability. I told right, the bitumen is more susceptible, so it should be of sufficient workable. Okay, workability in nature. Okay, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anything, if you are any doubts, you can ask me now. If you have any doubts. Any doubts?
No, sir.
Okay. So today we have gone through this Rose-Fuchs method procedure, how to get this one. Then we have seen the desirable properties of bituminous mixes, desirable properties of cement concrete mixes. We have seen, and we have seen the steps for construction of a highway embankment, steps for construction of a highway in cutting. That is, one is in filling and another one is in cutting portion. So the steps are same, but one or two steps will be different. That is cutting and filling. Okay. So tomorrow, that is in tomorrow's class, we will be starting with the construction of different layers of flexible payment. Okay, this is very important. In the exam, there will be one compulsory question. Okay, one compulsory question on the construction of flexible payment. Okay, construction of flexible payment. So either it may be a subgrade construction, subgrade GSB, wet mix macadam or wet waterborne macadam, then bituminous macadam, dense bituminous macadam, then bituminous concrete, then prime coat and tack coat. So up to around 6 to 7 layers we are going to discuss the specifications of materials, what type of materials we are going to use, then procedure, construction procedure, how we are going to construct the subgrade GSB, WBM, WMM, DBM and BC, and what are the functions of this prime coat and tack coat we are going to discuss. Okay, so I uploaded the notes in the MS Teams, you can refer those things. And here it is little bit theory portion, only theory, there is no problems or nothing, only theory in the fourth module, that is full of theory. One is a design of that is construction of flexible payment and construction of rigid payment. And in the fifth module, we will be having the problems, that is problems on highway drainage and highway economics. Okay, so I hope it is clear. Rose-Fuchs method problem, is it understood right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We'll try to solve one problem on this Rose-Fuchs method. Okay. Be in the session, don't leave. I'm downloading the attendance. Okay, you can leave. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you, sir.